Hey there everyone, it's me, Eden, and welcome to another video. Not an in-review video, albeit you may guess that it is. Today we're going to be reviewing every single Weezer album because I felt like it. And I like Weezer. Weezer's good. So, and by the way, on this list, I am including Death to False Metal, because here's the deal. Now, it often gets left out of these lists because people say, it's not a Weezer album, it's a compilation album of songs they never released. Here's how I see it, alright? 10 songs that have been previously unheard from Weezer. That's a new fucking Weezer album. So, we're including it on this list. And warning to some longtime fans, this list may aggravate you severely, since it is full of what we like to call hot takes, or at least hot takes for any old-time Weezer fan. So, just be wary. Try not to destroy me too hard. Alright, number 16 on our list. Albeit this video may be a little triggering to some longtime Weezer fans, my number 16 pick will probably not trigger or surprise anyone. Number 16, you know it, you don't love it, Raditude. Raditude is, and I want to say, no Weezer album is fully bad. Every Weezer album has at least one song that's okay. Even Raditude, even something as bad as Raditude, has at least one or two okay songs. So, this is actually also one of the only Weezer albums, though, where Weezer doesn't really sound like they're in their... they don't sound like they're in their sound. They don't sound like they know what they're doing. They don't sound like they understand what they're doing. They sound like marketing came to them and was like, alright, we're gonna release an album that's so 2009, it's gonna knock all your socks off. And that was Raditude. Raditude is, in a way... it's so not Weezer, and it's so weird, and it's so out of their sound. It's so 2009. It's like Pacific Daydream, except it's from 2009, and it's so much worse than Pacific Daydream. Pacific Daydream, I like Pacific Daydream, whereas Raditude, not so good. The worst song on this album easily is, I can't even decide. There's so many bad songs. Are there any okay ones, Eden? Yeah, there are two, in my opinion. Tripping Down the Freeway is okay, and In the Mall is so glaringly inoffensive, I wouldn't really dare to give a shit about it, so, you know what? Congratulations, Weezer. I don't hate every song on this album. So, yeah, there's Raditude. I think Raditude's not okay, it's bad. Raditude's a bad album, but you know what? It's still got a few okay songs. So, next up on our list. Yes, so, even though you may have not been, severely injured, all you longtime Weezer fans, by my pick to, put Raditude at 16, you will probably, despise me for the rest of your life for this next pick. Number 15, Pinkerton. So this album is like, it's like White. It's like the White Album, and it introduces a new, subgenre of Weezer albums that I like to call the, Rivers Likes Girls lol albums, and this is one of them, and except the creep factor is at max level 10, and Across the Sea is one of my least favorite Weezer songs of all time. The creepiest Weezer song by far, not a good Weezer song, not a good Weezer album, in my opinion. Albeit, I guess, critically, I don't really like it either. So, yeah, feel free to come at me for that one. I just think, from the heart, yeah, sure, it's definitely from the heart, you can tell. Rivers ain't making this up. Rivers ain't making any of this up, but it is what it is, and it's an album I don't really like or prefer. It doesn't really have any catchy sounds that I like, or anything that hooks me, really. So, alright, number 14. Yet another installment in the Rivers Likes Girls lol album series is White. Now this is a pick that's gonna aggravate some people, but it's not really as controversial as Pinkerton. Pinkerton is something that a lot of people regard as a masterpiece in Weezer's discography, whereas White is all kind of just regarded as a good album. I think White is... the creep factor is a little lower here than Pinkerton, but it's Also, by the way, I think White is limited to two separate topics, and that's it. And those topics are um, California and LA and beaches and that sort of stuff, and girls. And that's all this album is. That's all this album is. Every song's about one of those two things. And sometimes they even mix, like, in LA Girls. Like, what the hell? It's just, I don't really like this album. There's no good sounds on it. It's like Pinkerton. I don't really know why everyone likes it. Like, they say it's a return to form for Weezer. But wasn't that, like, Everything Will Be Alright in the end? That was the real return to form. That was the really good comeback album, not White. Alright. Next one. I am unapologetic about White, by the way. I believe everything I've said critically and opinionally. Number 13, OK Human. This album is weirdly weird. Like, you can tell this was an album that Weezer threw together during quarantine as kind of a surprise release. You know, you also have one of probably the shortest Weezer song ever, which is Everything Happens for a Reason, which is like a 20-second little electric piano, xylophone, I can't even tell thing. It's okay. I mean, as an album, it's full of okay songs that I think were okay. It's the first album on this list where we start getting into tunes that are catchy and listenable and that sort of thing. So, first off, we have All My Favorite Songs, something that seems to be very popular right now. I don't actually, the thing is, there's not really much to come back to this album for, because while it's full of okay hits, all my favorite songs, like this version of it, I don't come back for it that often, especially when there's a much better version, the AJR version, available just outside of the album. Like, why come back to it for that, or anything on this album? Alright. Number 12, Teal. Teal is kind of, it's a cover album, so you gotta know what to expect. And most of the covers on here are good. As a die-hard Electric Light Orchestra fan, I could say I like his cover of Mr. Blue Sky. I think it's well done. No Scrubs, I like that cover as well. I don't come back to it a lot, but I'll come back to it every once in a while, just because I come back to it, actually, surprising amount, a lot. I don't know why. 11, Death to False Metal. You know, let's get this out of the game early on. It's not that great an album, even though I chose to include it for some reason. It's okay, I guess. I mean, it's got some good songs. I like I'm a Robot, Everyone, The Odd Couple. Good ones. I think they're okay. Everything else is kind of odd. The beginning and end of this album is kind of mediocre. Turning Up the Radio is okay, though. That one's kind of jewel in a bag of coal. 10, Hurley. Hurley is an album where, the opener is one of the greatest Weezer songs ever, Memories. I'm sure most diehard Weezer fans are familiar with Memories. It's up there. It's a really fucking good Weezer song. And it's one of my favorite Weezer songs, maybe just songs of all time, really. So yeah, that's Hurley. There's not much else on here. I like the Time one with the distorted guitars and shit. That one's pretty cool. I like the effects, and I actually do think it's a really catchy melody. Whole New World or whatever the fuck it was called. I don't even know. Brand New World was okay. Not as good as Time Flies. That's what it is. Number 9, the Black Album. I've been putting this one off for way too long. It's way too high up the list. Actually, it was originally a lot higher, but I moved it down with my common sense. Black is like the most light Weezer album in all of Weezer. Even lighter than something like fucking Pacific Daydream that is light as fuck. This is lighter. Maybe not lyrically. Like, Pacific Daydream was an all-time light for Weezer lyrics, but this is extremely light. There are 2 good songs on here, 2 that I think stand out. Zombie Bastards and Can't Knock the Hustle are really good. They stand out. They're fine. Everything else is okay. Nothing stands out here. It's really just a lot of average Weezer songs. Like, a lot of these are kind of the lower end of make-believe kind of songs. 8, Red. Red is a weird album. It's a funny album. But is it a great one? Is it one of their best? I'm not sure. Red starts off with Troublemaker, which is okay. I like the beat. I think it's catchy. It's an earworm, but it's not the best Weezer song, not even close. We also get Greatest Man That Ever Lived. Actually, one of my favorite Weezer songs. I love this one. It's long. It's so varied. It's so good. And it's so good at mixing different styles of music and different verses. Beautiful track, really. And we'll continue to love it and come back to the album for it. Next up, we have Pork and Beans is another good one on this album. Not my favorite. I think everyone loves it a lot more than it deserves. I mean, it's one of the classic Weezer, like, fuck you, everyone, we're gonna do what we want. And, like, there's that music video. I hate that fucking music video. Like, it's supposed to be a celebration. I get there's a comment on it. It's like, oh, this represents, like, before internet media was corporate. Like, fuck off. Corporatized. I don't know. Red's kind of a wonky album. Everything else on here is kind of okay to dog shit. I guess The Spider's okay, and I don't hate King. The lyrics are bad. Also, Cold Dark World, by the way. Listen, Scott Schreiner, you're amazing, my guy. What the hell is this? It's one of the worst lyrical Weezer songs ever. Not quite as bad as Across the Sea, but not quite to that level of creep factor. But it's still pretty terrible. I would not recommend listening to Red as a full album. Still good though. Still good. It's got a few ones. Just go back. Go for the songs. Don't stay for the whole album. That's the slogan when you're listening to Red. Next up, 7, Van Weezer. Van Weezer is an album that it's the biggest drop off in any Weezer album ever. We start off with 3 of not just the best Weezer songs ever. 3 of, like, honestly, they're up there with Memories. Man, they are. We have all of the good ones, Hero, and The End of the Game. All some of my favorites, maybe even up there with the favorite songs of all time, not just Weezer. But then we get the drop-off, and every other song in this is, to some degree, kind of shitty, kind of forgettable, sometimes even straight up bad. It needs some of that, which is one of my least favorite Weezer songs. So it's the biggest drop-off, man, but it's so good. So good for those 3 songs. So good, in fact, it's just some of the best Weezer songs, some of the worst Weezer songs. And that's why it's being dragged up to 9, but no further. And also, I think if they would have kept that quality for the entire album, it would have been probably my favorite Weezer album of all time. Alright, next album. Number 6, Maladroit. Now, yeah, I kind of put this one in the middle of the ranks. I think Maladroit is best experienced as a full album, top to bottom. Listen to one song, it's kind of like, I don't really get that. It's okay though. But listening to Maladroit as an entire album, it really comes across as a nice little artistic thingy in Weezer's career. It's like Pinkerton without the creep lyrics. It's like good Pinkerton. No, you know what it is. It's like Pinkerton's instrumentals with green and blues vocals. You know what? I think it works really well. I like Burnt Jam and American Gigolo are both excellent songs. So yeah, it's a fucking great album. One of their best, not really, but I mean, it is one of their. It's number 6. I keep saying that, like I'm gonna keep saying that up until number 1. Number 5, Pacific Daydream. Now, you all are probably either in one of 2 groups. If you're a diehard Weezer fan, you either probably forgot this album exists and forgot I was putting it on the list, or 2, you've been just waiting for, like, why the fuck hasn't he ranked it yet? It's supposed to be at the bottom. So this album was, before I listened to the album when it released, around that area, I was kind of like, what I heard was that it's essentially a mediocre Imagine Dragons album filtered through Weezer sound. But I think it's a little more than that. I think it's got a nice airy feel to it, but an immersive airy feel, to the point where it kind of transports me and my brain to this kind of beach setting, with the air just rushing at you, flying through the air on a swing, that kind of thing. Boardwalk swings. Wonderful, wonderful album, really. I like Mexican Fender, Beach Boys. Feels Like Summer has a wonderful chorus. Yeah, it feels like so. I can't even go that high right now. But I can't even go that high with my voice. But it's still a wonderful album that just is so feel good and so good at doing that feel good thing. I feel like just because an album's feel good doesn't make it bad, and that is exemplified here with an album that is feel good and it does it wonderfully. And yeah, number 5. I think it's a wonderful Weezer album. One of my favorites. It's got a really nice airy feel to it. Number 4, Everything Will Be Alright in the End. This was the big comeback for Weezer. Raditude made everything kind of go, oh shit, what the fuck are they doing? And Hurley was a little too Hurley's good, Memories is good, but everything else is kind of except Time Flies, and maybe like Brand New World. So this was the big thing, the big comeback. You also have songs like Back to the Shack, Ain't Got Nobody, Had It Up to Here, the whole Space Whatever trilogy. It's actually really quite good. I love Foolish Father, too. Da Vinci, great whistling interpret. I love whistling in my songs, especially my rock songs and kind of my Imagine Dragons type songs like Disaster Party, wonderful song, too. Not by Weezer, but it's still a good one. Next up, number 3, again, just like Pacific Daydream, half the people have probably been waiting for this, and half the people probably have forgot it existed. Make Believe. Okay, hear me out. Freak Me Out. Beverly Hills. Perfect Situation. I love those 3 songs. They carry this album. And the rest of them are actually pretty good. They're not masterpieces, but they're still good. And it's goods with a few greats mixed in there, and that's what I think plies it up here. I like this album. I think it's well done. I think it gets a lot of bad rap for being extremely shallow and having a lot of earworms that I guess, theoretically could get stuck in your head and kind of ruin the album for you. And it's not as emotional as some of Weezer's other works, so, I get why people hate this album. I don't agree, though. I think it deserves more than that. Number 2, Blue. So this is, I put Blue here, and this is probably the best position for it. Most people would put Pinkerton at 1. Obviously, Pinkerton's not going at 1. Y'all probably guess what's going at 1. So, Blue is a wonderful album. It's just hit after hit after hit after hit. With wonderful vocals, good titles, Buddy Holly, Surfx America, Undone the Sweater Song, In the Garage, one of my favorite Weezer songs. The only song I can think of on here that's kind of is, I guess, The Only One or whatever it is, or I forgot what it's fucking called, but that song's kind of meh. Everything else is on here is wonderful. It will always be one of Weezer's best albums. Always. Matt Sharp had some cool stuff here. Wonderful song. Number 1, Green. Green is a very sentimental album to me. I remember Island in the Sun a lot. I love Island in the Sun. It's probably my favorite Weezer song. Yell at me for that, but I like it. I think it's the best. Simple Pages, Don't Let Go, I like it. Hashpipe, extremely catchy. Photograph's probably the only one on here. And I guess also Oh Girlfriend. Glorious Day, wonderful. There's so many good fucking songs. They're all catchy. They're not really too light. They're not like Make Believe, where it's like, okay, this is getting a little extreme. You're talking about Beverly Hills. Everyone fucking talks about Beverly Hills. What the fuck? It balances out. It blues kind of tone with, some lighter vocals and hit after hit after hit. And I just like it. Honestly, here's critically, as a critic, taking off my nostalgia glasses, putting my critic glasses on, Blue and Green are probably equal. They're probably a tie. So, if you want something, if you want a critic perspective out of this video, walk off with that. How about that? Green, Blue, tie. But if you want my opinion, based on my nostalgia and my love for the catchy tunes, I think Green is number 1. But if you're looking for my critical perspective as a self-appointed critic, Green and Blue are tied. So yeah, there you go. There's my list of hot takes on Weezer albums. Thank you for watching this ranking video. So thanks. Please don't ruin me too hard for putting the beloved Pinkerton at number 14. Thanks for watching. This has been a ranking of Weezer albums. Goodbye.